In this video, I'm going to show you how to make custom images for your MailChimp email newsletter. So MailChimp is a really great system for creating email newsletters. Unfortunately, if you just use the template tools that are available in the system, it's really hard to make an email newsletter that has a really distinctive visual style. It has a lot of great tools for organizing your email newsletter, but it's a lot harder to bring in the colors and typefaces that you need to match your brand standards. And to show you an example, I've created this email newsletter over on the left for the Paleo Lab, and you see that I've tried to make a little header for it. I've put the Paleo Lab logo and then I've put from the lab, but it just doesn't look good. And whatever I try to do to spice this up a little bit, you know, there's not a lot of fonts to choose from. It just doesn't really look designed. The structure looks nice, but there's not really a lot of design here. The only thing that my brand has, you know, the only connotations for my brand are the colors. There's nothing Paleo Labby about this other than the colors. If you look at the logo, you know, it's this photograph that's got this blue tint to it. We've got a line element, we've got a drop shadow element, and we don't see any of that here in this email newsletter. So when you're working with your email newsletters, it's really not enough to just fill them in on MailChimp. You need to create some custom assets for it in order to create a newsletter that carries your brand style and, hint, hint, also get a good grade. So what I'm going to show you here is how to do that. So I have this header up here that I think looks terrible in MailChimp. I'm just going to make it in InDesign. The first thing I need to do is figure out what size it's supposed to be, and you see that if I come into MailChimp and I look around, I don't really get any help with that. There's nothing here that tells me how big this needs to be. So of course, when I don't know something, I Google it, and I found this list of image requirements for templates on MailChimp's own website. And you can see if I scroll down, there's some information about sizes, and it says that the body area for one column templates, so that's what my header is, it's just one column across, is 560 pixels. Now it doesn't give a width or a height because I can make the height whatever I want it to be. So I'm just going to guess on the height based on what I see here. So let's go into InDesign. I'm going to create a new document, but I'm going to change from print intent to web intent. And now I can type in pixels. So it's 560 pixels. I'm just going to guess maybe 300 and hit OK and see if that looks to be about the size and shape that I need. That's a little too tall. So I'm going to go back to File, Document Setup, and I'm going to cut that down to 250. And that's still a little bit too tall. Let's just try 200. That looks a lot better. And now I'm going to place my logo. Where's my logo? There it is. I'm going to place my logo, and I want that to be in the corner. There we go. And I'm not putting any margins on this. I just want it to go from edge to edge. And now I can design some text over here. So what was it called? From the lab. So I can put from. My typeface is Avenir, so I'm going to change this to Avenir. Let's make that okay, and I'm just going to whip up a little design real quick. Okay, there we go. There's my design. You can see that I've lined everything up along the left, and I've added the bar. I've extended the bar all the way across by just putting a little bar of color down there. And I'm ready to put this in MailChimp. So I'm going to go to File, Export, and I'm actually going to save it as a .png. So let's call this Lab Newsletter Header, and I'll put it just right on the desktop. Gonna hit save, and now when it asks me for the export information, I'm going to use a 72 resolution because this is the web, RGB again because this is the web, and I'm going to click transparent background so that where it's white will actually take on the color of whatever's behind it in my email newsletter. I'm going to export it, and it will look like nothing's happening, but it's actually being saved to my desktop. So if I come into MailChimp, I'm now going to delete this header that I don't like, and I'm going to add an image and upload that ping file, PNG, that I just created and saved to my desktop. So click upload, and on my desktop, there it is. There we go. So that looks 8,000 times better than what was there that I tried to make in MailChimp. So this is what you want to do with your designs. You really are going to have to design some of these things. If you don't come into InDesign and create some custom assets, your email newsletter really runs the risk of just looking like a template and not fitting in with the rest of your design. And what I would do if I were creating, finishing this newsletter is I would continue doing this. These pictures down here, for example, the two fossils, what I would prefer to do here would be to put these in InDesign, and again, let's look at my image requirements. 2 columns, 260 pixels. Okay, these are squares, so I'm going to make a new document that's web. I'm going to do 260 by 260. I'm going to place my fossil image. And then I'm just going to copy my orange bar and put that across the top like this. And again, I'm going to go to File, Export, save it as a ping with transparent background. Doesn't matter here because the picture goes from edge to edge. So I'm going to replace this image. My fossil. And you see now it has an orange line as well. So if I preview my email newsletter, it goes from kind of drab and not really looking like it's designed to having a much more solid design style to it that matches my brand standards. So this is what you need to spend the next week doing with your email newsletters. A lot of you guys have the structure really sound, but I'm not really seeing the brand style. I'm not seeing any kind of design of images that would make your newsletter look like it belongs to your client's set of assets. So go into InDesign and start experimenting with some of these techniques.